Hi, this is Emilie Knight. It is Monday the 24th of March. I'm an abstract expressionist painter based in Jersey in the Channel Islands. I studied my foundation year in art and design at Plymouth College of Art and Design, followed by a fine art degree at the University of Plymouth. I've always been a creator of sorts. I don't seem to function properly if I'm not creating. So my background really, I was lucky enough to have the encouragement to do so and follow that path. I've also been sort of working on a professional life as well. I've kind of had the two running side by side because painting doesn't always pay the rent. So I've gotten used to kind of being able to make a living on the side and keeping art as something that's, a pipe dream, hopefully one day. But that's starting to change now, which is really exciting. I've always known that I've needed to create, but I've not really been able to explain why. It's almost become part of how I create art because I don't actually understand what happens. And I can never find a way of eloquently explaining that it just happens, and that wasn't acceptable at uni, etc. But a year ago I received an autism diagnosis, and suddenly everything is just starting to fall into place and make a little bit more sense. And I'm starting to be able to explain my processes, understand the why behind everything. And that's had a huge impact on my art and how I create it and how I understand it. It's like the light's been turned on. As an abstract expressionist painter, I tend to create in direct response to my lived experience. I paint with my hands and my feet and my fingers, so I'm intrinsically connected to all the marks that I make. As I said before, it just happens, and I've not necessarily responding to anything other than my lived experience. And this is what's coming out of my hands, this is what's coming out of my feet. So in a way, it's informed by my daily life and the intensity that I experience life with, being an autistic person and a late diagnosed autistic person as well. Some of my biggest artist influences would include Frida Kahlo, Egon Schiele, Basquiat, and I think Joan Mitchell is one of my favourites. And it's not necessarily the aesthetics of what they're creating, it's the energy that they're bringing. I am obsessed with aesthetics as well, but that combination of energy and aesthetics that comes together to create something that's not necessarily beautiful, but it makes you feel something. That's what inspires me the most. Another really big influence for me is people that come across as being genuine, that genuine experiencer of life that's totally true. There's a real, for me, a real autistic trait of being genuine, not lying. And I can really feel that from people. So if I see that, whether it's another artist or a poet or a chef, a gardener, anyone, it can come from anywhere. But I find that incredibly inspiring, being able to project your true self to the world unapologetically. I think that's one of the bravest things you can do. At the moment, I'm working on a new series, following a series that I exhibited at a solo show last year called Bloom. She was very pretty. Bloom was beautiful. She was very much a kind of direct representation of autistic masking, of the kind of masking side of things. Whereas this new series, and I haven't settled on a name yet, but it's all about exploring the concept of unmasking. So as an autistic woman, late diagnosed autistic woman, I've grown up to hide my quirks and enable myself to fit in with the rest of society, which is exhausting. So this series of paintings is quite raw. It's not as pretty. It's more challenging. And so I'm really working on that at the moment. I've got a few ideas for shows. I'm feeling really inspired. I want to keep the momentum going. One of my biggest challenges of being an artist, I think, is not always having the time or the means to create, and whether that's financial or space, not being able to create when you need to create is really challenging. And on the opposite side of that, actually, having to create when you don't have the energy to create can be really challenging as well. I'm sure a lot of artists would agree with me when I say I put an enormous amount of time and energy, and sometimes it can feel quite frustrating. Feel like you're wading through treacle, you're not getting very far. And then I suppose you have to question what does it mean to you? What are you trying to get out of it? And sometimes I end up just obsessing about that question itself. If I could give my younger self any advice, it would be to be real, to try really hard not to care what people think. It's such a challenge. It's one that I'm still grappling with now. But I get so caught up in what people think of me, of my art. It would take me hours to create a reel. Sometimes I hold a lot of anxiety around that. So actually finding a way to gift yourself that from a younger age, I would have wasted a lot less time. I didn't really realise until quite recently that my techniques are quite unconventional. I do paint solely with my hands and my feet. I start often, if I've got the space, as I do at the moment, by kind of moving in the paint with my feet, like a kind of subliminal dance of sorts. It's like a real amazing way of tapping out and just connecting with my subconscious. And then I follow that with this obsessive mark making. Like the two things are really, really different. You've got this kind of fluid subliminal dance followed by this super obsessive, almost stimming kind of mark making. And yeah, it didn't really occur to me that was a bit strange. Most people use brushes. I never know what a painting's going to look like when I start it. I have no plan, no process, really. Although that's something that I'm kind of investigating in light of my diagnosis. But yeah, it's always a surprise, and sometimes they go really badly, and I get really upset because I'm very emotionally connected to my paintings, and it can be quite a challenge. Music plays a huge part in my life and my artwork. I normally have something on. I've got very varied taste in music. So it can be dark classical, it can be reggae, it can be rock music. I love folk music, anything that is really expressive and kind of hauntingly beautiful. I can pretty much name nearly every painting I've ever made after the songs that I was listening to at the time or the playlist. And then to counteract that, every now and again, I feel so overwhelmed from an autism perspective that I need complete silence. And sometimes that can create some really beautiful work as well. I love hearing reactions to the work. People often see all sorts of things, from jellyfish to flowers to mountains and animals and all sorts of them. So I really love hearing what people can see in the paintings. But I had a really special studio visit this weekend just passed with a lovely client who said that my paintings were the first paintings that had ever made her feel something, and she ended up buying as well. And the energy that we created between us was amazing, to be honest. It was her first time buying art, and I felt really honoured to be a part of that. I felt really amazing. What I'm really focused on at the moment is my work eliciting conversations and questions, especially difficult conversations, difficult questions. Being a late diagnosed autistic woman is something that I feel really strongly about, is using myself as a platform to raise awareness around autism in women. It's only just starting to be understood. I think it's really important to stand up and ask why and demand answers. I feel really passionate about women's health and the lack of research and understanding in the female body, the female mind, the female psyche. I surround myself with really strong, amazing women, and that's incredibly important to me. Thank you so much for this opportunity and for taking the time to listen to me. I really do appreciate it. I love connecting with other creatives. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, Emilie Knight Artist. I'm also bravely trying to do a TikTok account, and I've been exploring some other profiles like Cara and Cohart recently as well. So hopefully see you along the journey. Thank you.